Like I said, they fully planned. I mean, like I said, he would constantly say about how the Republicans were right, how the Republicans were the saviors, how the Republicans were going to we're fixing the government. The Republicans were for doing this, Republicans were doing for that. Republicans were the way of the future, blah, blah. Republicans this, Republicans that. It's like, Rodney, who's giving you cocaine? Is it the Republicans? And like I said, it was the Republicans that were making the drug laws to eliminate the drugs so they could have money, so they could lock people up legally. I guess it's a better way than calling them spies. So, yeah, I mean, it was all retarded. It is all really stupid. And meanwhile, Nixon was happily getting nuclear plants, torturing Germans, doing all this stuff. Like John McCain was pretending to be von Braun, living and dying on the beaches of Hanami or Honami or Hunami or Hung or whatever, all high and drunk and whatever, and just all steroided up. JFK had his 30 or 40 biker troops, which were just muscle bound, like super soldiers. Like they actually presented a bigger target. My Irishman didn't have a problem hitting the big huge super soldiers that JFK had. They're these big muscle bound guys, and they couldn't shoot for shit. Most of my Irish soldiers and most of my real soldiers, they were much smaller, much faster, and could go and would just, all that muscle leaves a lot of veins to hit. So they would just, they died really easily. And they're like big guys that like two of them couldn't fit through a door. Because there's so much muscle and everything. And my smaller people, my Irish people, and my normal people were much better, much faster, and able to kill them very easily. I mean, it's like, oh look, there's another super soldier. Well, that was easy, wasn't it? Another JFK super soldier on steroids. Gee, I wonder what he's going to do if he gets within arm's reach of you. So, I mean, taking care of them wasn't really all that hard. And they were getting locked up for using their hands. There's a bunch of people with like single hands, and the muscle bound guys were like, "Oh, it wasn't us. We didn't strangle that girl. We didn't strangle that person." And it's like, "Oh yeah, then how come there's only one hand thing on it?" And one time a person was like, "Oh yeah, here, grab this bar with both hands." And the guys were so buff, were so muscled out. Like I say, they couldn't get their hands within 1 foot of each other. And so the guy was trying to grab, he finally got it like one finger on each side of the bar, basically. And it was like, see? That's why there's only one handprint on this girl. Or on this person. Because you can't get both your hands around a person's neck because you're too steroided up. So it was pretty obvious. And it's like, how many people have that are that muscular or built out that they can't actually grab a person's neck with both hands? That they can't get their hands. That's why they had the monkey bars on the bikes. Like somebody actually mentioned it to me, reminded me of that. And it's like, I don't even care. I'm just Lucifer Starline. I'm just the one who named America, created the American government. What the fuck do I give a fuck? It's a bunch of fucking idiots running around going, "Oh, we're powerful." Like in Zack Attack, doing all the little computer programming, typing in zeros next to his father's name. And then trying to get his father killed. He put a contract on his father's life. You didn't know that? Zachary or someone. He actually paid money, or was paying money to have his father killed. Bill Gates. Bill Gates' father. Or someone like that. I think it was Bill Gates. He wanted to have his father killed so he could get the money or something. I don't know. Or maybe it was somebody else. I don't know. A bunch of people just going after ones and zeros that didn't really make... It's like a bunch of idiots. It's a bunch of stupid fucking people. And then there was a bunch of people that actually killed their own parents or killed whatever, I mean, I don't know. They'd never have to work again. Hell. Yeah, you just have to kill your parents or your sister or your brother. But then JFK or Nixon, I think it was either Joe's Witnesses or one of the paramilitary groups, they were killing their own people. Now the shares only split 4 ways. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of stupid idiots out there in the world. And it's all for what? For nothing. And then they go to find out that there was all a lie in the first place. Somebody just edited in a computer that they had a bunch of money, but they didn't really have a bunch of money. A bunch of people went to Zachary or Bill Gates and were like, "Where's the money? Where's the money?" And it's like, "What money? There's no money. It's all in the computer. It's all in ones and zeros. It's not real. There's no real money." And it was with a bank like that didn't have money, or I don't know. I don't give a fuck. And realistically, he just sold. I don't know. They print a lot of money. Nixon needed him. Nixon took over the printing press. They bombed Germany to get the printing press from Germany, and they stole it because all the Republicans had was the printing press inside of the White House, which was my printing press, my first little printing press. It meant something to me because that was the first little printing press that the newspaper was being printed on and stuff like that, before they went to a bigger printing press. And so Germany moved the printing press and the little plates for the money because it meant something to me. It sentimental value to me. So they moved it there, and then they're there in the White House going, and they're not even cutting the paper right because they don't have a real paper cutter or something like that. So their paper money has little edges like they're like this or like this or like this. You stack them up and they're not even exactly cut right. They don't, you take a stack of their counterfeited money from the White House back in the old days, and it's not straight. It's not squared corners. One corner would be slightly off from the other one because they didn't have a good paper cutter. So they stole the printing press from Germany, and that's one of the reasons why they attacked Germany, to steal the printing press. And then they moved 4 truckloads of $100 bills or $20 bills. I think it was $20 bills. The highest denomination at the time, which was $20 bill. And they moved all those stacks of money to NORAD and had it in the warehouse. Of course, there's also the anthrax powder inside the warehouse as well. Just a couple rows down, maybe. I don't really know. So, and at one point in time, they were finding anthrax powder on the money, wondering where that was coming from. And that's because every president or every leader in the White House would go to NORAD, get the little briefcase of money, and then to go out into the world. And so that money would have anthrax powder on it because there's rats chewing on the money or chewing on stuff or something like that, or wandering around and a rat got into anthrax powder, but it didn't. He just got it on its fur and then it was running around, spreading the anthrax all throughout the warehouse or something like that. But nobody went in there and the door was locked, so they're saying, I don't know. I don't care. It wasn't until a technician or an exterminator actually got one of the rats and accidentally, because you have to actually put it into your mouth or something like that, or inhale the powder before it's actually deadly or something like that. So, it's just on the money, on trace amounts. Unless you licked one of the bills, you would never know that it had powder on it. So, well, it wasn't until somebody was testing the money for cocaine or something like that they found the anthrax virus or something like that on the money or something. They're wondering. It's like, well, hey, as they say, stupid is as stupid does. Saying that I'm stupid or something like that. It's like, I'm not really the one that's stupid. I'm not the one who was stealing money, taking it to NORAD. I'm not the one who put all the anthrax powder in NORAD, expecting or planning on dumping it all over the population area. And I know the anthrax powder came from Japan. From those whatever it's called. That's where they were making the anthrax powder, and we just didn't know what else to do with it. It's like you couldn't really destroy it that easily, and there was a lot of it. There was like 6 truckloads or something of anthrax powder. It was way too much to actually do anything about. So we just put it in NORAD, just put it in storage because, I don't know what to do with it. It's like Nixon's plan to kill off thousands or millions of people, and I wasn't going to do it. And I named America, and I owned America, and I owned NORAD. It was a mine that started in 1914. So just like Antiochs. It's another one of my mining colonies, my mining camps. An older one. I had Antiochs, and then I had NORAD, or Mount Cheyenne or whatever. Probably Cheyenne is probably a Probably it feels Chinese. It's probably another Chinese name or something. I don't really care. Like it's your stupid lie. You know, it's Rodney Briley. It's Rick Bush. You know, I was just on vacation as a child. You know, and like I said, I'm pretty sure Rodney Briley or Rick Bush, as soon as he found out my name, ran to the White House or ran to the Congress. You know, trying to take over, trying to whatever. And like I don't know. I don't care. You know, and it's all over the White Star Alliance money. You know, all that money from all the cruise ships and all the what's it called, and all the and all the aircraft money and blah blah blah. And it's like, you know, what money? Like what? I'm the founder of money. You know, like I say, they're retardedness. And they were just trying to have sex. Oh yeah, here, little girl, here's some money, here's some drugs. Come have sex with me. Yeah. You know, it's just like, and it was the stupid Congress. You know, no different than if the Southsider or someone gave drugs to some young girl. And what the church was doing, what the Jehovah's Witnesses were doing, what all of them were doing, because they were broke, because they were out of money, they were taking donations and asking their daughters to go and have sex with these rich old men or something like that, or trying to do, I don't know, grasping at straws, because they didn't have any money, they didn't have anything. So anyway, like I say, tax free or tax deductible, and they were just trying to live inside of my mansion, saying that they were caretakers. But they really weren't caretakers, and they weren't letting anyone rent the house or let anyone else live in the house or something like that. And they're just pretending, they're just using it as bribes and trying to bribe people. You know, trying to sell off my European houses, and they would sell them 2 or 3 times or some shit like that. Or maybe it was 2 or 3 people trying to pretend like they were me. I don't know, everyone just trying to pretend like they were Lucifer Star, but none of them were. Rodney Briley wasn't Lucifer Star any more than, or connected to me any more than Abraham Lincoln. I'll be your eyes, your nose, your ears, your mouth, and Rodney will be your dick. And for your nose, yeah, cocaine, no drugs for you, Brian, you're too young. Like, okay, you're weird. Whatever, red-faced Rodney. Rick Bash, because Rick Bush. He was Rick Bash, then he was Rick Bush, because he always gets the bush. You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't care. Like, while I was a child, all these people were running around. Oh, word of mouth, word of mouth. It could be a rap song. Word of mouth, word of mouth. Spread it around, or something like that. Like, I mean, what? They thought and they're just trying to live on the White Star Line's money and the cruise ships and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, whatever. And then you have a bunch of idiots just being like, oh, I own this penthouse, babe. Yeah. And then you have the Concorde flying people back and forth, for free. And it's like, it's a company just like anything else. And it goes bankrupt because, they weren't making any money on it. There's just a bunch of people who thought that because I had cruise ships and slower aircraft that they could just fly around on my Concorde for free from country to country and not have to pay anything and just be able to live in all my houses for free. Not have to pay anything because, yeah, there's so much money. And it's like, yeah, but that's not your money. That's my money. And eventually, when I found out about it, when my people found out about it, it's like, yeah, cut that. And I just killed the Concorde because, well, it was kind of dangerous to fly in on, and nobody was making any money. It wasn't making any money. They were flying people for free. All the senators and people that they were bribing were just flying the jet for free. There was like 3 or 4 people that actually paid for the tickets. And so that's why I went bankrupt. And they were trying to make it, and they were trying to link it. So basically, realistically, Cunard or what is Carnival Cruise Lines basically went bankrupt, basically, because they were flying all these people around for free, all these congressmen, all these whatever people, and they were just trying to bribe people more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And it's like, yeah, that's not your money. It's one person's money, and it's my money. It's not your money. You're just the manager of the money. You're just embezzling. So, yeah, Congress had nothing to do with anything. And everyone knew that until JFK and Richard Nixon and a bunch of other people started chopping off arms. And just shooting people in the back. And basically saying, well, now I'm driving. And meanwhile, Rodney was like, yeah. Oh, where's the line go? Oh, it's going that way. Nose time. Come here, Rosella. Come here, all the Rosella's little sexy friends from school. Like that. That's pretty much the way he was. That's all Rodney was doing. Rodney was supposed to be building my aircraft things and supposed to be doing a good job, but he wasn't. And Rick Bush was actually trying to make my aircraft crappier so America would lose the war or lose a war. And somebody else realized that, wait a minute, if America loses the war, then we all die. So maybe we should have good aircraft. So Howard Hughes went in there, and it was actually Howard Hughes that was lobbying and actually getting all these people locked up for basically trying to build the aircraft crappy like. If you go back, Rick Bush or someone was building all the aircraft, having all the aircraft built with substandard wiring, substandard aluminum, substandard everything, basically cheap, and it would cost the same to build it the right way. So Howard Hughes basically went in there and he got all these guys locked up, arrested all these people, and got all these people arrested because they were killing people. People were dying like crazy in my aircraft. What Rick Bush was doing was really horrible. And Rick Bush was saying that he invented flight, and he fell and hit his head, and that's when he came up with the idea of the wing. And it was all a lie. Rick bashed my next door neighbor. Now the Joe's witness. And he went to jail for lying and for falsifying records and for falsifying evidence and for lying about being the owner or the inventor of aircraft. Because he supposedly fell and hit his head and envisioned the wing. Anyway, and there's actually pictures or somewhere of him going to jail or being arrested actually, as a younger person or some person. Or someone, he was indicted on corruption charges and everything else like that. So anyway, and a religious group, I believe it was probably the Jehovah's Witnesses, were actually pretty much they found out that they actually tampered with Howard Hughes' aircraft. Howard Hughes was really just a test pilot. That's all he was. He wasn't anyone more than a test pilot. And he fell in love with Amelia Earhart, and I liked Amelia Earhart and Howard Hughes, and he was doing a really good job with my aircraft and everything else like that, and he was a really good guy, so I promoted him. Or he was promoted, because he was a good person. So was Amelia Earhart. A lot of people loved her. She was an inspiration to a lot of women. And she was a wonderful, great person, and and I chose them to be my leaders or to lead in my place. So he got all these people locked up and and had evidence and did everything the right way. So there's the actual reality of things, and then there's basically the little pieces of shit that float around me and like, yeah, you are shit. And whatever. And a lot of contractors and a lot of other people are like, well, it's not on us. The Germans are like, well, it's not really on us. And even the Japanese are like, well, not really on us. And it's really just a bunch of idiots around me, basically. A bunch of people pretending to do stuff, pretending to be someone. And like I say, I'm 99 trillion years old. I'm on vacation, dude. It's just, I took my vacation and then there was all this epic stupidity around me. And it's like, it was worse. There was a lot of people tortured, a lot of people killed, a lot of carpet bombing, and a lot of other stuff, and I had nothing to do with any of it. All my stuff is on records and in films and photographed and everything else like that. Basically, your remembered history, and then there's all the in the gray area, as the sheriff would say. And it's like, dude, you wear a star badge. You're a star employee. Get a fucking clue. Wake the fuck up. Oh well. I pledge my allegiance to the flag for which it stands, which has stars on it, and I have no idea who that is. And I'm in America. So you pledge allegiance to an American flag, which has stars, and you're in America, for which I named, and you're living underneath my rules and everything else, and I edited your constitution, blah, 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 a constitution which is used around the world, and you're blind, you're blind, you're blind, you can't see, you can't see. You can't see anything. Oh, someone took my eyes. There's no lower light. We can't see. Maybe we're in space. Like I say, I'm not the one acting retarded. I'm not the one acting stupid. And then you have the Stomp group. Stomping on crime by getting the 16-year-old girls to have sex with 40-year-old men, then calling them pedophiles, then drugging them with GHB, and then saying they drowned in a pool. But there's no water in their lungs. And 40 or 50 people or 120 people say, well, we were there, and I don't know, we lost sight of John or Bob or Henry. I don't know what happened to him. And later on it's proven that, oh yeah, well, those are the people that killed him. Yeah, they shared the money afterwards. Just look at the bank accounts, whatever. One person withdrew the money, and then they shared with all the other people at the party. They bought cars, they did this. You know, that's the funny thing about money. Everyone always spends it as soon as they get it. And even talks about getting it before they get it. And Rick Bush and Rodney are like, we can't spend the money, we can't spend the money, we can't spend like, you're going to be waiting a long time to spend that money, dude. Like, and then there's probable torture and everything else. Like I said, some serial killer came up to me at one time and was like, well, and he was going to go take care of some people. And like I said, he had already killed like 120 or 1,000 people or something like that. And gotten away with it. He was a very dangerous person. And I was like, no, you don't really have to help me. But he was going to do it anyway. So, yeah, I don't know what they're out there in the world. Like, he was like, well, I'm going to remember you. I'm going to know you. I'm like, that's nice. Everyone knows me. My name's Mr. Starline. I'm the creator of humanity. No, I don't know why you are the way you are. Blah, 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 blah. A lot of different things. Everyone knows me. So, yeah. Anyway, whatever. Even other life forms know me. I can't get away from that. There's nowhere for me to go. I could go hide in the deepest cave in the middle of nowhere, and everyone still know who and where I am. I went out. I was cruising through outer space, and the computers and stuff like that. You know, all the higher level life forms were like, "Hi," you know. They all knew who I was and what I was. Even though even though my ship name was changed, even though I had picked up a new ship on another planet, they still knew who I was. They could just deduce it, and they were so cute and friendly, and I loved them. I loved them. You know, and I was kind of shocked that they actually remembered me, actually knew who I was. But and some of them said, "Well, we." Well, one of them said, "Well, we always know where you are, who you are." Kind of shy, like it was really cute. I was like, "Aw." I love. It made me fall in love with her. She was adorable. And there were lots of adorable life forms and stuff like that. I loved them. They were adorable, and they were really nice and really pleasing and really friendly. One of them even came to me when I was at my house at 47 Mile Drive, and she was like, "Well, are you really?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Well, somebody was wondering where you were." I was like, "Well, I'm here." And anyway, though, so yeah, I mean, space really isn't that big. If you sent out probes to find me, you'd eventually find me. In fact, I used to play a game with some of the higher level life forms, find me. And they would find all the people that might have been me and all the people that were me, or they tracked my existence without me telling them. They just deduced it and found from the records and found out who and where I'd been, what I'd done. Like I said, I love cute, friendly life. So anyway, yeah, I mean, whatever. You know. So like, a gang or the Southsiders or Northsiders finding me, or even the American government, or even the police department, or even someone discovering who I am really isn't all that big of a deal. Like, well, yeah, even as a 9-year-old child or a 6-year-old child, I was found. They found me way back when I was like 3 or 4 or 6 years old or 9 years old. So, anyway, yeah. So, oh well. It's just epic vacation ruin. That's all it was, really. And I still had my colony ship. So, big, beautiful colony ship, which I loved. It was so wonderful, and it was so cute. They're like, you wanted wings, so we're going to have wings on it. Little fins. So I had little fins. I didn't really need them, but oh well, they were cool anyway. In fact, they actually got in the way. later on, as I was trying to land it, when I was like, fucking wings! I'm trying to turn sideways. Or maybe it was the pilot that was saying that. I don't know. I was saying the same thing. Like, those wings are getting in the way. So I was thinking about, so I think I turned it sideways so the wings were like not, so they wouldn't be sideways to the wind or the drag or whatever. A lot of people curse those wings. Those wings definitely got in the way. So, but anyway, I wanted them, so they were on there. Anyway, whatever. I remember how the cosmonauts used to land. The cosmonauts used to land the spaceships. The Russian cosmonauts. That's what the little nose cone with the little thrusters on it is for. As you come down, you go, in case the rockets, so you can land vertically. And they practice day and night to land like that. But it's dangerous. It was dangerous, so. But anyway, that was Russia. The great Russian cosmonaut program. I love Russia. I did. They were wonderful. Germany was wonderful, though, too. But Russia was wonderful. I miss Russia. I do. I will always miss them. They were epic. But anyway, I said I loved all my people, all my supporting people, even the gypsies and the Libyans and everything. The Love Italians, I don't know. They might have done something really bad. I don't know. There was a bunch of people that died, possibly because of the Love Italians. I don't know. The Love Italian army, they did some things. Like I said, there was this one case in this concentration camp where some Love Italians killed a bunch of people, and I don't know. Maybe they were bad people. Who knows? There were a lot of bad people that were just like, oh, well, we're just going to get locked up. Click. And some people found out who they were, and they went not you, not you, not you. Because they were rapists and killers. And they thought that they could just do crimes and then just get locked up for a little short time, and then, oh, here's the money. Yeah, there you go. We'll get out now. Or something like that. There are a lot of these people that were really bad people. People like Zachary and stuff like that. So, some people were compelled to do things. Like I said, there were people that were getting their own daughters to go have sex with old men so they could get money or kill them or something like that, or get information or something. Of course, occasionally there were daughters that there are also daughters that went and had sex with men to get their dads out of jail and stuff like that. And then some people took them to court and blah blah, trying to say that the dads had convinced their daughters to blah 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 blah, and the daughters were like, no, we did it because we wanted our dad back. And it's like, I don't know. Hey, it's called free will. Are you sure? Okay. All right, fine, whatever. It's just sex anyway, so. Whatever. If their dad was innocent or the dad blah blah, then, and sometimes they change their ways. I don't know. Like I said, I had to deal with, I've weighed in on a lot of different cases and blah blah, and knew about a lot of different things, and it's like, whatever. Like I say, I really had nothing to do with the society, per se. I was just about production, inventing, and research and development, and everything important in existence. The whole, I wanted to go marry Susie and blah, 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 and we married because blah, 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 and, And then he invited me to this wild sex party, and I ended up sleeping with this guy, and he slept with like these three girls, and then he stole some money from one of them, or got one of them to steal money from blah blah blah. Like that wasn't my job. That wasn't my deal. I had nothing to do with that. I don't care about that. You know, that wasn't me. You can go talk to Rick Bush or the Congress or somebody else like that. You know, I have nothing to do with the wild sex parties or anything else like that. I designed your body. I designed your government. I invented for you. I protected you. And that was my job. And that's what I did. I am Lucifer Star, your creator. You know, the little like all the bribing and all the other stuff and all that blah, blah, blah stuff. That's called free will and free choice and free civilization. And like I said, a lot of people are like, it's free will, man. We're just going to go ahead and say that this happened, even though it didn't. You know, it's like all that stuff, that was just, you know, that's why the Germans were saying it's just a corruption or abuse of free will and free choice. You know, and saying, freedom! Because you could go smash windows and steal shit. You know, that's abuse of free will. You know, I had nothing to do with it. That was other people, and realistically, it was probably Papa or JFK or the Republicans, which really had nothing, never worked. You know, JFK was pretending to be some farmer, or, you know, just like Jimmy Carter was pretending to be some farmer and, you know, winning. And realistically, he did eminent domain and took over a farm and then kicked out the farmer onto the street. You know, he just jacked up the interest rate really high and basically foreclosed on the property, and then he was number one farmer. And he bribed a bunch of judges, and a bunch of people didn't want to make him number one or give him any blue ribbons or any things because he wasn't really farming the land. You know, he wasn't really the number one farmer, and they knew it. So they weren't going to give him any prize money or anything, and he had to bribe judges and probably threaten them with locking them up just to be able to get number one. You know, Jimmy Carter, everything about Jimmy Carter, and Jimmy Carter had Jimmy Cars and Jimmy this and Jimmy that. You know, and it was all just, you know, he paid people or had a military, you know, he's using the military thing and just forcing a bunch of people to work for him, a bunch of people to invent for him, and, you know, it was just Jimmy Carter, JFK, you know, they were just the world's worst people ever. It's like, whatever, you know. Yeah, and considering, you know, it's just a bunch of people praising the really horrible people in the world, trying to call them something when they were really nothing. Yeah, whatever, yeah. You know, and of course, compared to Zachary, you know, Zachary wanted to be blah, 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 blah. And realistically, it was all to make themselves look good so girls would have sex with them or people would want to vote for him or something like that. And they were just horrible people. It's just a lie. It's all a lie. So, and the more you dig, the more it falls apart. The more you dig into the Republicans, and then you find out about the Republican militia, and then you eventually find out about how the Democrats were democuluses. The democuluses were controlling the Republicans, and realistically, democulus is just another word for Democrat. You know, just trying to pretend to be something, you know, maybe trying to make their name sound cool. I don't know. And it's just sex scandals and rape and drugs, and, you know, it's just stupid. Like, it had nothing to do with America. It had nothing to do with the countries. It had nothing to do with the government. You know, just a bunch of people like the Congress. The Congress had nothing to do with anything. If anything, if the Congress had to do anything, it was that they locked them all in a room and made them sign something or do something. So they would stop killing people. So they'd stop hurting people. But realistically, they had nothing to do with anything. I owned the land. I had the troops. We trained the troops. You know, and I had other life forms out there in space. And Rodney and Rick Bush and a bunch of other people thought that the American government had won. We won. We won. Didn't you see Nixon waving the victory sign? And what he was actually waving was the peace sign, really. That was actually the peace sign at the time. They were like, oh, look, he's waving the peace sign. And later on, it's like the victory sign. And like, they're just a lot of liars just trying to prove something. And realistically, he got kicked out of China. They found him. They pulled him out wherever he was. They loaded him up on a jet, and they evicted him from China and told him to never return. So anyway, they kicked all the Republicans and all the Democrats out of China. And China suddenly had no more problems. China at one point, and then even then, they were trying to get back into China, and China kicked out all the foreigners. Everyone. They just load them all up on buses and ship them all out. So, and then they didn't have any more problems. Imagine that. So anyway, the only problems China was having was with everyone except for the Asians. Once it was just Asians, everything went along just fine. It was just the Republicans and Democrats and just some idiots with guns. So they just kicked them all out. Put a gun to their head and forced them out of the country. So anyway, like I say, well, whatever. And realistically, like I say, it was just the Congress, just the Republicans, just Rodney Bradley, Rick Bush, and just all these other idiots just trying to be, oh. And then later on, they're like trying to say that they're going to kill me or something like that, or whatever, unless blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and they do stuff for them. And it's like, go ahead and kill me. I said, I don't give a fuck. Kill me. I'll just be saved later on. And my people were really upset, and the people were really upset that I was going to have to die or that I would die. And it's like, well, they'll save me later. I'm the star creator. I'm the one who created stars and galaxies and planets and was tracked all throughout the universe. I don't think I'm going to die that easily. But if I do, oh well. I'm not exactly, I'll never die, I'll never grow old, I'll never... It's like, fuck it. I lived 99 trillion years. I had this wonderful, beautiful existence that was epic. And like I said, I swam through your thoughts. I lived in your bodies. I felt a whole nation having sex all at one time, which was truly epic and unique.